I've been asked on a number of occasions to give an introduction to what the virtual envelope is all about. So I guess that's what this next few minutes is going to be. What is a virtual envelope? For thousands of years, whenever we had something private or confidential to hand from one person to another, you probably put it in an envelope. And then came email and text, and now social media. A question begged is, when you need privacy the most, where's the envelope gone? So that's what we've done, is we've created, and I'll try and explain where that came from, an envelope into which, this is sort of over on this side, I'm going round this way. It's a virtual envelope in which you can put any digital content, and I don't mean just a document, I mean a video, music, tickets, opening up whole new markets for us, like theatres, who historically don't have a direct relationship with their patrons, with their clientele. It's normally done through third-party ticketing companies. But this way, they would be able to communicate directly, not just the ticket, and have the ticket as a QR code and take them through. You would have the ability to say, listen, you came to watch this, you came to watch that, we're doing something similar in a month's time, and communicate and interact with their audience, as well as helping to put a stop or eradicate secondary ticket touts and that secondary ticket market. And it's the same with sports, match day programs for any sporting event, ticketing for sports events. We're even dealing with banks at the moment who are sending out interactive newsletters with very expensive content and a subscriber base. However, the content is getting passed on to people that are not paying. So they wanted to police that and so on. So come this second point here, whatever you've put in the envelope, whatever wonderful content you've created and you perceive you have ownership and value, whatever it is that you want to protect, once you've sent it to the receiver of the envelope, it should only be opened by them, and certainly only upon your terms and conditions. I'll give you an example. If I sent you now an invoice for £10,000, you didn't pay me 30 days go by, normally I would ring you up and say, listen, what about this £10,000 you owe me over the last 30 days? You've not paid me. Oh, I never got that. Could you send me a copy invoice? And then we dance for another 30 days. However, if I've sent everything inside an envelope and you've accepted terms, I'd know where you were, when you opened it and who you passed it to. So I could then say, listen, you opened it on the 5th at 3 o'clock and passed it on to your accountant. So stop messing about and pay me. Another example might be a non-disclosure, non-circumvent agreement with a business plan inside the envelope. So if it ended up in the wrong hands or you suspected a breach, sort of moving into this area now, you'd have the ability to, if you suspect a breach, to vaporise your content and seal the envelope shut forever. Not just for the first person, but also the second person that they forwarded it to. Or, as an example of someone an organisation that didn't want to vaporise and control that kind of viral growth, that would have been one of the big music companies. We thought that they would want to police their single tracks inside an envelope. So if it did go to somebody, you could force them to a payment gateway for their 50 cents or whatever it was for the track. They thought that being able to harvest lots of email addresses on a particular fan base of an artist was far more valuable, so that they could then market and merchandise and tickets and all sorts of other things to that audience. So they wanted the proliferation of viral growth and the ability to control and harvest that kind of information. So that's kind of what the envelope is all about privacy and control. It's your content, and it's about how you control who sees it and who doesn't. Okay, this bit over this side now. I guess what I've just done there is all the introduction. This is the history bit, to give you excuse me, a bit of peace of mind about who we are, what we are, kind of people we deal with. I am going to do another small video on this because I don't want to bore everyone to tears with it. However, been around since the 80s. First company was sold in 98, 99 to a fully listed PLC on the London Stock Exchange. We then got involved. Move over this. We got involved in the financial and credit industry. Licensed our technology out to the second biggest credit receivables management organisation in the world. Then we got involved in medical telemetry with a professor from St Bart's in London, the hospital. And then we got involved with a whole bunch of creatives who we'd met through all of these different industries. That, as you know, radio, TV, books, magazines, the media in general, and they're all highly creative people that had written documentaries and movies and done voiceovers and all that. So what we did with them is they wanted to work with us in interactive programs so we could monetize some of their content online. So we did that. Then we got involved in legal documentation, non-disclosure agreement, tracking, which sort of spun off the interactive documents that we created back in publishing, which led us to where we are today. And I think if there's a common theme through that, it would be a medical audit trail, which became a financial audit trail, and so on to where we are today. We have patents granted, we have some pending, and I guess most importantly here is that we have amassed an enormous client base and great reputation dealing with hospitals and prisons and airports, police forces, big companies like BP, Shell, banks, HSBC, National Australia Bank, telecoms companies, government agencies. We're government approved. We're a Crown Service approved supplier on the government cloud, the G Cloud. So feel comfortable with the history, and I'll do another video on that. However, there you go. That's the introduction and a wee bit of history. See you soon.